working in public art is a struggle. You know, it's a collaboration. You have to really believe in what you're doing. You have to be committed to the artist you're working with. You build lifelong friendships. And it's the kind of commitment that I think is important for our graduates and for young curators to think about and to learn from. And you know, whatever we do in making art with artists lasts a lifetime. So those bonds you have with the people you work with are very, very important, whether they're colleagues in the field, whether they're galleries you worked with, whether they're artists. And I think it's very important early on to realize that hopefully life is long and you have to have some ethical standards as to the way you work. I think I've learned from working with artists, no matter what level they're at, that making art is actually difficult. And making good art is extremely difficult. And the best artists understand that and struggle with what they're doing. And so one of the kind of lessons I've learned through working with artists is that an artist is always thinking, a good artist is always thinking about how to do something better, how to make something new, how to articulate in a different voice, and how to provide new meanings. And that's not an easy matter, not for anybody, not for Jeff Koons, not for Pablo Picasso. Well, you know, in the last 20 years, the art world, like the rest of the world, has globalized. And globalization is a little bit of a sort of banal term. I like to, you know, in a way, think more about how art is distributed today, how it's available, how do we see art. It's not all been a good thing. And I think it's led to quite a lot of banality, actually. Kind of, you know, the mounds of information that are out there doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything more articulate. And I think what we, you know, need now is actually to have places and spaces that are a little more idiosyncratic, a little more personal, are different from everything else that's going on. There tends to be with globalization a lot of smoke and mirrors, but also mimicking of each other. So we all start to look alike. We all start to do the same thing. We all speak the same language. And there's been a leveling, I think, to some degree of culture. Well, it's quite interesting. We're doing a show right now at the Hessel Museum of Art called Invisible Adversaries, which is based around ideas that come out of a film by Valley Export, a radical feminist artist from the 70s in Vienna. And actually working with Lauren Cornell on this project, we have selected 55 artists and more than 100 works from the collection, from the Hessel collection, of which 90% are women. And that wasn't a deliberate choice. We were actually selecting artworks. So it's interesting, I think. I think it's interesting in the Hessel collection that there's very strong representation of women artists, but also, you know, we're not aiming to show women artists as women artists anymore. You know, women, and I would hate to categorize the work of women as such.